been called lots of stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of deed. I've had it rough and tough. You'll know I've smoked a lot of weed. Mellow, don't you know? Well, I've learned a thing or two, like when and where I should go to, what I should or shouldn't do. I've been left alone, no company, but that's alright with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. I'd like to let it grow, you know I'm talking about my beard. I'll have you all know that I know sometimes it might look weird, but I got a friend upstairs whom I'll keep confiding in. I know he's there 'cause when I knock he always lets me in. Brings me peace with what it is and what is not for me. To accept what I see, they're looking back at me as big and ugly. Big and ugly. I could have been small and cute and play a flute like a dream, or sing like an angel, maybe play ukulele. But I got to work with my hands and keep dragging it along, banging on that old guitar. Sometimes I'll write a song. I lose a few friends, so it seems I got no enemies. 'Cause what you get is what you see, that's how it is with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. Big and ugly.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Big Uglies. I'm your host, Josh Denny, and we're here on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. I was a little under the weather yesterday, but yeah, we're back in the saddle. Big week, big inauguration week for everybody, and can't wait to jump in and get the show going with you guys this week. Of course, we can't do that without the one and only co-host with the most, the one and only Carl Spitali, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Blurry?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. You got a bandwidth issue?
No, I don't know what the fuck.
Little some kind of band action. A little housekeeping before we get started on the show this week. Obviously, everyone go follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Big Uglies Podcast. It's only $5. You get access to all the episodes and some bonus content, but it's $8 if you want to hate us.
$8.
$8. Mr. Big Spit, how you doing over there?
I'm cool. I'm trying not to be fat, and then I go to the store and they got fat shit on sale.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
if you're a drug addict,
they'd be doing that.
If you're a drug addict, it's easy to avoid drugs. if you just don't go where the drugs are.
Yeah, but our drugs are everywhere.
Right. I had to go to the store to get dog food, and then I walk in there. I was like, Jesus Christ!
Like, we got a deal where if you buy a bag of dog food, we'll give you 7 frozen pizzas, and these 2 Filipino women will suck your dick in the aisles, and you're like,
close. It was 12 donuts.
You're like, I mean, I'm not gonna get the blowjobs and donuts. You know what I mean? Like, it's un-American.
Yeah, it didn't come with a blowjob, but it came with. I bought a certain amount of food and I got donuts.
Okay, well, that'll work. Yeah, and this is, by the way, you give me shit all the time because you're like, you fucking lazy fuck, getting your groceries delivered. Do you know why I get my groceries delivered? So that I only get what I need. Because if I go and start window shopping at the grocery store, I'll turn into a fat person, and I can't have that.
Well, you got to walk the aisles, so.
Yeah, so you say. Listen, I can promise you, there's no amount of grocery aisle walking that will negate the Klondike Bar Reese's Peanut Butter Cup ice creams that I buy.
I refuse them, and then they go, "Oh, this is on sale. I needed to get ice because my fucking ice maker was fucked up, so I'm getting ice, and obviously the ice is next to ice cream."
Yes, ice,
and I go, "Damn it!
Yeah,
why is this on sale?"
I remember
ice cream should be $1,000, so I don't buy it.
In my previous relationship, you and I would argue with her all the time because she'd be like, "Look, I got a deal," and you go, "Yeah, but the deal is not buying it at all. That's the real savings.
That's the real deal. The real savings is not buying.
Do you not understand that the discount got you in the door to spend more money?" And you know, her, like many like her, fall for this ruse every time where they go, "No, they're having a sale," and I go, "The biggest sale is not going at all."
Yeah.
So this is a logic that has escaped women for millennia, and you know, this is why we have wars, and this is why everything's going to shit. I mean, and we've got a great example of women just destroying everything and the world going to shit to kick off the show here today. I pulled this little ditty up, and you know, I miss back in the day when ditties were just about ditty and they didn't have to be horrific examples of women being themselves.
What's a ditty?
You know, a P Diddy. I don't know if you saw this little chestnut of a dream on
I
X.
want to be killed then.
This is 2 Russian girls on TikTok holding up a toddler, which is probably their brother. Yeah, let me see if I can pull this full screen. Yeah, here we go. Oh, you know, there's music too, so you know, just kick him in the spine and then do a dance.
Dude, I can't. Don't show that again. Dude.
Okay, I'm pulling it up.
The baby getting whiplash from a bitch fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme here.
Now this is the first thing I thought. This is the first thing I thought when I saw this video is, you know how I'm always like, we don't really know what the existential cost of abortion on demand is. It's that. It's shit like that. It's not a person, by the way, which is the same argument that slave owners made for drowning their slaves when they tried to run. Like, it's not really a person. This isn't a murder. This is my property, and it's malfunctioning. It's that same argument that women make to genocide their unborn babies that lead them to go, well, it's not my little brother, or God forbid, her own child. It's just something I can destroy for TikTok views. Like this, and this immediately, like, forget about what you say about going like Trump wanting America to own part of TikTok and trying to strong arm this company into forcing them to sell, you know, under the guise of national security is anti-free speech and anti-American, whatever. I saw this and I go, burn TikTok to the fucking ground, dude. Burn it to the ground.
Yeah. Obviously it probably is on TikTok, but it's probably like whatever Russian social media they got too.
No, it's TikTok. What was I going to say? The woman, the person I follow, Lucky McGee, she goes, yeah, this was a TikTok thing. If you look in the video, which I won't pull up again, but the video has a TikTok watermark on it.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, this is the argument for Muslims.
Go on.
Like, this is what they argue. Like, look what the West does to your women.
Yeah.
The West, if you
Yeah.
don't put your women in bed sheets and cover them completely,
Subjugate
they
them.
will someday they will kick your babies in the back with karate kick.
Yeah.
This is why we dress them up in goofy shit, because they cannot be trusted. Okay,
Yeah.
now you understand. And
Yeah.
then you go,
They're not
yeah, they're
wrong.
not wrong, but they're not right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we would love.
Wait, can you guys just stop at that part? And they're like,
Yeah.
no, there's way more. You're like, okay, well,
So, we also must sever and burn the clitoris. And you go, we have to do that. They're like, trust me, bro. It really helped. It really helped.
trust me, bro.
It really helped to sever and burn the clitoris altogether, because
Okay,
they're out there doing bang 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 in black guy penis, and
trust
and
me,
then
bro.
they kick a babies. The clitoris.
Trust me, bro. Speaking of trust me, bro.
The only way to stimulate lady brain from any part of the body, so you must remove.
Speaking of trust me, bro. I posted something throwaway on Facebook.
Okay.
I just said bring Nextel back.
Oh yeah. By the way, I wanted to comment on that.
You can comment now.
Reading, I wanted to comment on that because I was like, every time
I said what you thought, what you were gonna say.
Every time I start to think like, wow, Carl's finally starting to put his life together like a white. You go and put some nog shit on your Facebook, like, bring Nextel back, homie. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, man. And then, of course, one of our few black friends has to jump in and try to educate you on why Nextel bad. You're
First
like,
of all,
no, it's not bad. It's
first of all, let's get something straight.
Mobile.
Get something straight. They didn't use Nextel.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You're talking about Diaz Mackey. Well,
they used I'm outside.
Yeah.
Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile happened because black people were going, what the fuck are these white people chirping on? What is that?
Yeah. And the funny thing that I loved is this was the most black shit I've ever seen in my life. Where he goes, the problem with that is, everybody be hearing this conversation, and you go, hey man, you know that there was an option to not have it on speaker, right? And it was just fucking crickets in the comments.
That's why he said, no, trust me, bro. This is what he said.
No idea that you could use a Nextel phone not on speaker.
Yeah, dude. He goes, nah, man. The problem with that was cops was tapping into the radio frequencies. I was like, let me stop you right there. No,
it's actually the exact opposite.
It was like blockchain walkie-talkies, where like you had the individual code and all that stuff. And also,
it was peer-to-peer. It wasn't open source. You couldn't have 10 guys on a line.
Oh yeah, tell me what what channel I'm on, dude. You fucking retard. So I was like, no. He found that was like, yeah, that's how it was. And cops were like locking people up for it. Trust me, bro. Right. Dude, I was like, first of all, you don't have to have it on speakerphone. Okay. That's why they were locking y'all up. Okay. Second of all, none of that stuff is admissible in court, right? Because it's hearsay. Okay. So the only way they can have a recording of you is like they had to have a recording of you. And I put this article from a snippet of the article from when they wrote The Wire. The FBI and the Baltimore police contacted David Simon and said, hey, the whole storyline with you and the drug dealers using Nextel and all that, can you not do that?
Yeah, because you're literally giving them a way to not allow us to use wiretaps.
And they took it out of the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he like worked for the Baltimore Sun, used to, and he respects the police and all this shit. And they took it out of the show. He was like, yeah, we actually wrote that in because there was a window in time, like when we had the show, where that was a way of circumventing the law. And
well, I got to be honest with you. My introduction to Nextel was through my older brother, who's a contractor.
Yeah, it
But
was all like rednecks that had it.
no, but a lot of the guys, not rednecks, but a lot of the guys my brother did contract work with and for. Keep in mind, my brother's in Philadelphia. He's doing work in Jersey, South Philly, surrounding areas. So where do you think he learned about Nextel from?
Coloreds?
No, from Italian mobsters in the
Oh yeah.
world.
Dude, there's
That's
a
where
mobster case on there that they literally tried these guys because of Nextel, and their FBI was like hell bent on getting them, and it was one of the first cases of like, open their phones, we need it, right? And you're like, no.
I was working, so we all had them when I worked at Hollywood Video. We all had them. My DM had them before I was a DM, and then when I became a DM, I had it, and our managers had it. And by the way, my most favorite thing was saying fucked up shit into the Nextel to the guys I knew, left it on speaker on their hip, like, and it would just be like, he would just say shit like, "Hey,
that lady is a dyke you're talking to."
Yeah. You would just chirp them and start talking like, "Hey, man," and so it got to a point where
she wants the jujubes.
My boss would be like, "Hey, man, leave your thing on speaker so I can get you whenever." And bosses loved these things because they were like, we can, we can summon our employees immediately. There's no like, "Did you get my call?" Or they wouldn't have to wait to call you back. And so I would use that against my boss to say fucking hilarious shit to him, knowing that his thing was on speaker.
Yeah, they so in South Florida,
we would do gay voices to each other. We would just chirp and go, "When are you gonna be home?"
In South Florida, it was one of the only things that worked out in the sticks. So like, having it to where you don't need to say much, just like, here's my, and the funniest thing about it is like when blacks started like wanting it and catching on to that, and then they marketed Boost Mobile to them. Remember their whole marketing pitch was, "Where you at?" That was literally, and they had like Young Jeezy in the commercial and shit. And that's why I had to tell Diaz, I was like, "No, bro."
From calendar.
I had, what the fuck?
Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah.
I had to turn that off.
I posted a picture of, I like went to Google and looked up the Nextel phone that I had. I was like, no, dude, I had like the silver flip phone with caller ID on the front. The fucking battery lasted forever in those things.
Yeah.
And
they were great. Those phones never died. I think I charge it like once a week.
Man, I was like, bring Nextel back. I don't want to do shit on my phone. I don't want to be checking Twitter and all this other shit all the time. I just need the fucking, and then I'll hit the flip and go, yeah, well, that's cool. Push to talk. It's the same as a voice memo.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much what it was.
That's where they sold that proprietary push to talk to Sprint, and Sprint owned that, which then became.
Well, they acquired Nextel entirely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying push to talk, they kept that thing.
Yeah. What was I going to say? It's so funny how the technology around that comes full circle, because like I hated texting when, I think we talked about this last week, but I hated texting when it was T9, because you had to like fucking hit buttons.
1, 2, 3 ABC.
Yeah, you had to shit. I never learned T9 because I hated it. And now it's gone all the way around where, like I'm a newly single guy, you're talking with women, and they go, "I don't like the text, I like voice notes." And I go, "Well, I'm going to hit you with some crazy shit. There's this wild new technology where we could just dial each other up and have an uninterrupted conversation." And they're like, "What?" It's just like, so we've gone full circle to where now like the hot new shit is just
a phone call.
A fucking phone call, right?
Wait till like the geomagnetic event happens, and these bitches have to use a landline.
Oh my god, yeah, solar flare hits and their fucking cell phones don't work anymore. I mean, I don't know if you saw on Sunday when TikTok was down for 4 hours, but it was like the fucking nuclear holocaust had happened worldwide. I like to think that you and I have like a somewhat elevated friends group of people that aren't utterly retarded. And
That's not the case.
I was shocked to find out how many of our friends are
not the case.
like retardedly addicted to TikTok, like in a disgusting
Grown people
way.
with children.
Yes.
Like my homegirl lives in Tennessee with children, a whole ass family and everything. She's like, what am I going to do if TikTok isn't here no more? I go, raise your kids?
Yeah. A friend of mine in the Midwest is like a family of 3, and she's like, the whole family doesn't know what to do now that there's no TikTok. And I go like, I don't know, enjoy each other's company, feed each other, tell stories, like, we'll get back to living your life. It's like in those apocalypse movies where people, it's like in the movie Alive, when the fucking police come out and they just walk out of the plane like, well, it's the first day of the rest of our lives.
What are we gonna do? Eat each other?
Yeah, it's just I was honestly like disappointed in my friend group.
You guys don't want to look for food first?
Right. Yeah.
Like, how is that not the first act of Alive? It's just like, dude, can we go try and kill a bear together?
Yeah. I would probably rather get mauled by trying to hunt a bear than eat a fucking Dominican guy.
A guy.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is like drawing straws, like who to eat next.
Hey, hey, by the way, Ronaldo, do we have to eat his penis first? I think that's an odd choice.
It's really fatty.
What you don't understand is that it is the easiest meat to cut and also the most flavorful.
Good thing we brought our chef Ravi with us. Yes, please. Now, if you're please remove his penis. You're like, why, dude?
What we do is, we don't have anything to cook it over. All God give is
cook
in your
penis. Who want cooked penis? Raw penis.
Yeah, it's the best.
Raw penis is the best. It's like oyster, but chewy, you know?
Oh, God. Well, oysters would be chewy if you chewed them.
Really chewy, though, you know?
Oh,
it's like a squid or something, you know?
Yeah, squid on. I don't do squids and octopus, and I don't do Brazilian soccer team penises.
You don't eat anything but pizza.
Very good, very true, and probably going to happen in about an hour.
It's like no squid.
Yeah. I'll eat calamari, but when I did ginormous food, I was like, I specifically put in my contract no octopus and no Brazilian soccer team penises. I was like, I don't give a shit what kind of deal you got worked out. I don't care how it's prepared. I will not have it.
I mean, if you didn't know and it was like an Indiana Jones dish, what do you mean we're eating monkey brains?
Yeah. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, this looks like a pretty cool dinner party. You know, like I didn't see monkey brain and be like, that's too far. But if I saw Brazilian soccer team penises, I would be like, this shit, they need to genocide.
Well, they just walk the soccer team out and you'd be like, what's up with these guys? And you'd be like, all of these men are missing their dicks. And like, where's the dicks? And they just hear like, anybody say sausage? It's just like a guy comes out with the fucking the tray.
Oh my God, I just realized that's why that guy was so terrified when he came up and took his heart out. He was like, how much, Baba? How much, Baba? They already cut his dick off and fed it to Indiana Jones. That's what he was freaking the fuck out about. He didn't know they were going to get his heart. He was already like, oh, excuse me? What do you take already?
Indy, whatever you do, don't eat their cocks.
When you've tried everything else at the table.
Ha ha! They tried to get us to eat their cocks. Now what away, Indy?
No time for seconds, Dr. Jones.
Talk about the last crusade, huh?
Yeah, that's when I'm shutting down the adventures, is when somebody tries to feed me human dicks. I go, no more exploration.
Indiana Jones is like, hold on. We gotta find the rest of this. You're like, we're good, dude. You don't have to do this. I don't care how many booby traps are in here. I don't care what you got to switch out with a gold thing. We stopped at fucking dicks.
I can say this wholeheartedly, is that if you find my dick out somewhere on an expedition, the rest of me doesn't want to be found alive ever.
Yeah.
Let me fly wherever they left the rest of me.
Yeah, some fucking national treasure map to get back to the dick.
No,
like, no, I'm good, dude. Just fucking kill me and then tell Ben Franklin about it. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Just let me die. You don't need to find the glasses at the fucking Washington Monument.
Yeah, actually, it says right here, there's a dick on the back of.
He's basically holding the first pair of 3D glasses, which is just like, also found the first dildo.
It's like they were fighting over these Ben Franklin glasses too. It's like they could have just went to a dollar store and read the fucking map.
Yeah. Hold on, there's a 3D Despicable Me playing across the street. Let me run in there and grab a popcorn and glasses for $3.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a horrible. How the
That's
fuck?
my national treasure. I'm not. That's it.
Yeah, kill him. Yeah, if I lose that, end it for me.
We're gonna find Ben Franklin's dick. Yeah. Like, no, we're not.
Is that why they never made another one? That was the logical next.
I think it's in production.
Is it? Oh god, is this why it's all black women now?
Yeah, they try to make a spin-off series, which doesn't make sense because it has nothing to do with that family.
No, but the kid who played his assistant or whatever, Riley or whatever, he's in it. He makes
the dude from The Hangover, right?
Yeah, Justin Bartha. Yeah,
That's the guy they've lost.
Yeah. I totally never made that connection until you just said it. But yeah,
they're both movies.
Yeah.
Somebody's searching for something. And
why did nobody make those jokes when The Hangover came out? Like, have you guys thought about looking at Benjamin Franklin's burial place?
Well, we didn't have a show, so
that's true. We didn't. We would have made such a connection. Speaking of historical American moments, did you have any favorite takeaways from the inauguration on Monday?
I liked how every time Trump said something that any American would love, it was like Kamala Harris and Biden just sitting there, seething and not clapping.
Yeah. I said on
like
X.
Cunts.
I said on X that day, I go, hey, if you're curious who probably tried to have Trump killed, it's probably everyone sitting down while everyone else is clapping and cheering for what he's saying.
Yeah, well, I think you said something like everybody not standing and clapping. When you said
are the people who tried to murder the president. Yeah. Pretty obvious to me. It's a pretty obvious switcheroo.
Yeah, he was like, and that's why we have a country protected by God. They were like,
they're just like, boo. Yeah. He's saying things that it's like partisanship should have nothing to do with whether or not people are on board with this thing, and yet,
well, they do hate God on the left.
Yeah, that is obvious. That is so obvious. I mean, you know what's funny is,
this is not a Christian nation.
Yeah, you and I have said this since the election, where we said, like, man, and people keep saying America's back. It feels like 1987 or something all over again. And here's the thing. It did. And then what's wild to me is after I didn't start seeing how lunatic the left still is until after the inauguration. It was like they went into hiding and then they came out, and and you saw this with the Elon Musk Roman salute, where everyone's just like, see, Nazis, plain as day. And it's like, because the guy did a fucking nyeh. And then, of course, because the internet's the internet and it's undefeated, they go, yeah, it'd be a shame if like every leftist politician over the last 10 years did similar salutes in there. Oh, no, what is this? A complete compilation? Like they had that shit out like it's Now That's Music Volume 12, where it was just like, oh, AOC, Elizabeth Warren, like that, They had a picture of Elizabeth Warren jerking Hitler off. I was like, I don't know how you explain this. This one's pretty open and shut. But AOC is literally going hard in the paint. Like, no, these are Nazis. These are all Nazis. These are the new Nazis. And I was like, I said on Monday, and I stand by this, we gotta stop letting women with big juicy tits say whatever the fuck they think and let it come out of their mouth like it's the truth.
Well, they're just gonna make Nazis cool.
I started referring to this as
big titty syndrome.
Nope, utter nonsense, and not spelled the proper
with two
way,
D's,
but like this #utter nonsense. And so I think going forward, we're going to have to make this a thing where #utter nonsense. We're going to pull up every week the dumbest fucking shit a woman has said and done. And we kind of did it earlier today with the Russian women kicking the baby. That is something I would file under the category of utter nonsense.
Well, I would file it under wood chipper from Fargo, but
yes, yeah, that's what I said on X. I said those two bitches belong in a wood chipper. By the way, if we started using TikTok for public executions, I'm back in. What a
sight!
What a sight! I want to see. You remember the movie Saw?
That's a sight to see.
I want to see the movie Saw, but with women who do shit like that.
Oh, dude!
You thought it was fun to kick babies across the bed. Now,
hello, Russian bitch.
Yeah. Wait, how's it go?
Hello, Russian bitch.
He just doesn't even take the time to learn her name anymore.
You're waking
There's too
up.
Many. There's too many. You can't do the back.
You're a piece of shit. Now, I want to play a game.
Yeah, I want that. And by the way,
you escape? Can you escape Compton at 2 a.m?
It's half Saw, half The Purge.
Well, it's just you just dump them in areas like, oh, you want to kick babies? How about you put you where you're gonna get fucked up? It's like make that just drop them in India for like an hour.
Your version of a Saw movie is just unleashing blacks on all of the victims and be like, get out of this one.
Let's see how you get out of this.
There's no elaborate
TikTok doc.
Yeah, there's no elaborate scheme. There's no escape room situation. It's just, I've surrounded you with 500 blacks.
One of them swallowed a key, and the only way it comes out is through their cum.
Yeah. Oh God.
TikTok better suck it all.
And here's the thing: is if you know how black guys come, good luck finding that key, because that shit's going. It's going far. It's probably going across the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, do you know that? Is that what you know? Black guy come. Jesus.
Listen, some tabs have been left open on my machines over the years. Okay.
Hey yo, you didn't notice the signs?
The signs were all there. I mean, I noticed the signs. I mean, you just go, who would possibly? How could any human woman want to?
Jesus!
Then you just go, oh yeah, no, they're awful, evil people. Yeah. So
well,
all these black people in the fire department, nobody thought to let them jerk off on it. It would have been out in 8 seconds. That's how you know this
just takes it forever.
That's how you know. That's how you know that Pacific Palisades is a racist place, because they're like, listen, we got 1,000 nogs we could bring in here and they could just jerk the fire off. And they go, you want us to let blacks in our neighborhood? Let it burn.
You know that movie's coming from Netflix, though. Engine number 69 or something, where they come in there. It's like, we saved all the fires. And it's just like,
yeah, their milkshake jizz everywhere.
Yeah, starring Kerry Washington. Somebody get them mans up there. And the fat bitch from Abbott Elementary.
Yeah, but they can't.
I don't know their names.
LaQuinta
Brunson.
Yeah, I just like that you said it in the movie voice anyway. The fat bitch from Abbott Elementary.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna have a white woman in there, or else how would anybody come? So that's a plot hole. We already found a plot hole. You carry Washington.
Hey, plot hole, fire hole. They're sticking it in.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter at all.
This movie has a plot hole in it. Why don't we just make them fuck?
Yeah. Nailed
that fixes everything.
That totally fixed all the writing issue. We had such writer's block on this, and now we figured it out. That's what we missed. Yeah, just black people coming fires out. You know?
Speaking of black people and in charge of the fire department, did you see the? Well, of course you did. The mayor of Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, no, this was the highlight of my week here. I got this queued up for us.
The mayor of Philadelphia, for those of you who are unaware of this, decided she would like to.
Black woman, obviously.
Well, yeah, she decided that she was going to participate in the Eagles chant that everybody says at the game. EAGLES, Eagles. They say it everywhere.
This is the traditional chant, right? This is if
Traditional
you're an
chant,
Eagles
yeah.
fan. This this fight song has been around forever. It's not.
And it's EAGLES, Eagles.
No, we don't picture. Yeah.
So
She decides, I'm about to give a speech. Let's make it festive and fun. Eagles are in the NFC Championship. They're one game away from going to the Super Bowl again. Let's bring a little bit of local flair into my speech. And here's how it went.
Let me hear you all say ELGLES.
it's never not funny.
And you know what is hilarious is the black cop who's standing next to her the whole time is listening to her say the wrong, and so is the guy in the beanie to the right. They're all listening to her spell it wrong, and they just have that face of like, nigga. Like,
let me hear you all
watch
say
their faces.
ELGLES. Eagles. Let's go, Birds.
And by the way, with the utmost confidence. She didn't.
Well, that's how they got their jobs.
Yeah, just wrong with the absolute most confidence. And so, first of all, if you know anything about racist Philadelphia people, this is officially part of the chant. This is just going to be what the chant is from this day forward.
Right.
Every person in that stadium is going to chant ELGS.
ES.
Yeah, they've already fucking. The shirts were out that day. ELGSES Eagles, and
the fact that she thinks there's two S's in it is insane.
Hilarious. It's also so not surprising.
I wish she would have like spelt it in a way that she was trying to spell it, like two E's.
Yeah,
an EI. Maybe.
Yeah, and so
two S's is crazy.
I said this to you, and by the way, this is not the only footage of a black person saying it this way. There's like 100 clips of black women spelling it exactly this way: ELGSES Eagles.
Like that couple in 2019.
Yes. There's a ton of them, and I was like, dude, I want to start a trend, if I even have the power to do such a thing, where just every time a black person or a woman does or says something stupid, people in the crowd just start chanting
ELGSES Eagles.
Go
Birds, girl.
I just want that to be the fucking official fight song for dumb noggery and womanhood everywhere. Can we make this happen, internet?
Well,
put this out there.
Luckily, Karen Bass only has to chant Rams.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, perfect example of somebody who should have ELGSES Eagles chanted at every public appearance that they've ever make in the rest of their lives.
It's unfathomable that every single metro city, every major metro, has a black woman
mayor.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's get up there, and then the police chief is black, and then the guy it was like, now let's talk to this, and the fire department, and you're like, what the fuck? And and then you'll see the comment section when they fuck up, right? And it's black people say this. They go, they only put him in power so that when things go wrong, they can blame the black.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, well, that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah, it would also be
and
less.
Who's the they?
It would also be less hard to do if they could spell simple words. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of make it a little easy to be scapegoated. By the way, try to spell that one. Like, I don't think you're allowed to complain about scapegoating if you can't fucking spell the word.
Okay, first of all, you're throwing a lot of big words at me. I'm going to take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I cannot believe that.
How do we let them in charge of things?
And this is the crazy. This is the part where
women are above reproach.
Yeah, it goes back to what we said from the very beginning, which is this thing about where white people are just going to get to a point where we're just going to not care about being called racist anymore, because it's like if I'm gonna have to be called racist to go, how that bitch to mayor, she can't even spell the name of the fucking football team. Like, even the dumbest motherfuckers in Philadelphia who work in the trades can spell the fucking name of the team.
The funniest part is the fact that they are in power, right?
And by the way,
and racism comes from being in power
bitch,
and restricting people to do
I
stuff.
bet this bitch makes over $250,000 a year. And so when people come at
Probably
me,
not legally either, because they all get corruption scandals.
yeah, people that come at you and I, and it's like, you guys are fucking dumb, poor comics, they go, there's a black woman somewhere working. There's a black woman somewhere in this country right now that has $1 million salary that is below the level of retardation. So don't try to tell me that monetary success in today's America is somehow related to intelligence. It's not.
I love how you said a black woman.
Yeah, there's probably 50 of them. There's probably one in every fucking.
Annie Willis, the chick in Georgia, who they sicked on Trump like a pit bull. It was like, this is going to be the black woman that takes him down. And then they investigated her for what? Fraud, corruption, all that stuff. And they go, why do you have a bunch of petty cash at home? She's like, I always have a bunch of petty cash at home. And they said, why? You remember her answer in court? I don't trust governments.
Oh yeah, yes, she said that. She literally.
Well, then what the fuck, bitch?
I don't be trusting y'all niggas like that. Y'all be stealing.
I'll be trusting y'all in the governments and be like, yeah bitch. And you're telling us that this guy should be in prison for that?
Right.
He don't trust the governments. That's why he ran for president.
Right.
You fucking dumb bitch.
Oh my God. What was speaking of his alley-like return to the ring? What are we gonna say? What's your favorite Trump executive order so far?
Well, the standard ones that he had with the only two genders, none of this bullshit.
J6 was mine, obviously.
J6.
Shout outs to all our buddies who are now free or on their way to being free, which is crazy. I don't know if you saw that on Monday night, but they were like, we should have these people out by the end of the night. And then there were examples where there were like fucking prison guards and shit that were like beating detainees and preventing them from leaving.
Man, the lawsuits that are coming from that are going to be massive.
Yeah, that is the next shoe to drop.
That's what they're prepping for, and that's why they pardoned the J6 committee.
Yeah,
if they didn't get pardoned, they couldn't prove that they had no civil liability afterwards.
Right. Yeah, we were supposed to be with one of our J6 friends tonight. There was supposed to be an event in Beverly Hills for Brandon Strzok of Walk Away. That got rescheduled. But the good news is when we do that, some point probably in the spring, it will be a pardon celebration and not a end of probation celebration.
And there'll probably be 3 fat black lesbians there.
I hope Jesse Lee comes back. He was the highlight. Brandon's a good buddy of mine, but the highlight was Jesse Lee Peterson. I mean, just listening to Jesse Lee talk about, be racist is the funniest thing.
But like the whole thing, like what they did with Jay, especially like fans of Bob's Burgers and shit. Mm-hmm. And like if they knew Jay's story and what happened, they'd be like, well, that could happen to anybody. Instead of that, they said, they had the same stance as the judge because they're authoritarians.
Yeah.
And they were just like, why the fuck were you there, just that? Like, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like, anybody could see. I could hear it in Jamie Pesto's voice that he was a fucking insurrectionist. You're like, you people are fucking insane. Like, absolutely insane people.
And there's a reason you did a woman's voice when you did that. And all I have to say to that is ELGS. Like, that's all you got to do. Just start.
But there are nerds. There are fucking veto level on the spectrum, live online nerds that are like, well, he was there,
By the way, I just want to point this out. I don't know if you saw. I try to loosely follow, like Dick and Vito are good buddies of ours. I try to loosely follow their online activities because it very much borders on extremely gay. And Vito posted like a fucking YouTube video yesterday that was like the downfall of Destiny. Now, I clicked it to watch it because I don't like Destiny, but I was like, hey, man, isn't he your friend? Like, boy, I can't wait till the day when Vito does that video about me. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, it wouldn't get enough clicks. That's why he hasn't done it yet. But
Yeah, I don't think he's actually friends with Destiny though.
But it's just like, so what? So now that this guy's being taken down, you're old Messiah, and now you betray him so quickly, and you're like, now I'm doing expositions on, you know, my buddy that's been, you know, unceremoniously canceled or whatever. And what's funny too is like of all the bad political takes and terrible ideological points of view that Destiny has, like he just also fucked a teenager, I guess, supposedly. So it's like, why would you do like that's what's fucking annoying to me is like when I meet new people and I go like, yeah, just so you know, when you Google me, there's going to be a lot of negative shit out there. And they go, okay, sure. And if it's entertainment industry people and they go like, well, then why aren't you back on TV or why haven't you had any other opportunities? And I go, because the minute people Google me, they just go, it's not worth it. And they go, but what did you do? And I go, I didn't do anything. I just had opinions people didn't like. And they go, well, what were those opinions? Like, what did you say? And I tell them like the tweets or the things that were my mortal sins, right? And they're just like, it can't have just been that. And it's like, no, dude, there are literally people. I used this example on another show recently where I was just like, there are literally dudes in this city who have like sexually assaulted a woman at their job and they still have like a C-level job. And I got fired from a director level job because a woman who didn't work in my department didn't like something I said on Twitter a year before I took that job. So like this idea that like, oh, cancel culture is over. It's like, no, it still very much exists. And Trump said this when he was talking to the Davos people, where he was like, yes, if you guys don't stop debanking conservatives, we're going to have a fucking problem. And was like, you know, and did you see how quickly Jamie Dimon switched the subject of like, we're really excited to sponsor Team USA in the World Cup. And he's like, why don't you stop canceling the bank accounts of conservatives?
Yeah. And when it comes to that type of shit, that's why I like buying Canada and all that shit. I was like, dude, they're fucking cunts. Like if you bought Canada, let's say like that.
Yeah, we don't need two. We don't need two Californias.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
We
like
don't need
those
two
are that's the country that literally had truckers that protested this shit, and they took their fucking money away, and now the fucking they argue for the fact like, what, were you part of the fucking trucker movement on that? You mean like the freedom thing? Like yeah, like they act, it's the same as like, what are you, an anti-vaxxer? What are you, an anti-masker? It's like anything that is government approved, these people are in favor of because they're authoritarians. Like, why the fuck would we purchase another place that is that? Just so we can have their fucking oil and tell them they're faggots? We could do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What the fuck we need to do that shit for?
Right.
It's like, and that's why I'm changing Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. And that's so stupid too, because it looks like he's writing less executive orders by doing that, but he's not. So like to reverse a Biden administration executive order of not drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, he just made an executive order that calls it the Gulf of America.
Right.
Which circumvents that. I was like, or you could just reverse that bullshit he threw in the last month.
Right. Yeah. Well, and this is the same thing that goes in with the pardons from Monday, which, by the way, if you haven't been watching YouTube videos of every leftist media person trying to 180 on the pardons, it's one of the most insane performances of mental gymnastics you'll ever see in your life, because you know, they're all being like, well, Biden didn't want to do that, but he had to because he was worried that, Trump would use the DOJ to like prosecute,
to weaponize the DOJ.
And they go, oh, you mean like what's been happening to him for 2 fucking years? And they're just like, wow, it's not the same thing. And it's like, it's exhausting for them to be like, no, it's different when we do it. Like this is literally watching somebody rape a woman and go, this is different when I do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, man. Yeah, it's like this is why they lost the election. This is why they're probably never going to win another one for 30 years, because they can't just put their hat in their fucking hand and go, Yeah, we lost touch with everybody, and we're completely we hitched our wagon to some pretty wild shit.
There's a
And
lot of executive orders though that they missed that people didn't really see. That
yeah,
yeah, like I don't know if Trump kind of slipped them under the radar because all the other ones were pretty
yeah, there
big.
are a lot of those, right? That like the people they didn't get as much press and as much,
Fanfare.
fanfare. Yeah, they were the little lesser known.
I have a couple.
You have a couple of them here.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll put this up. Oh, hold on, we lost you there.
Oh, well.
So there's a little segment, a little lesser known executive orders for people that weren't aware.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the thing if I simultaneously do it. Is my camera not go?
Yeah, when you pull it up, I have them here. I have them here listed. If you want me to just go through them.
Well, I know that
You can
one of
speak
them
a
I
little
think was fag and retarder back again. It's in all government documents.
Definitely love it. Love that fag and retard are back. I think they're great words. And by the way, absolutely necessary as people start reverting to calling everyone racist and Nazi again. I think the appropriate response is to call them faggots and retards.
And then the direct way to address the H-1B stuff without going into real reforms. Did you see the one where we outlawed curry?
Yes.
Curry is outlawed. No more curry because it stinks. It's gross.
I think it's a good way. It's a good backdoor. It's a good, that's the thing about some of these executive orders is it's not necessarily what's on the face of it, but it's what other problems it may fix.
Here's another one. Spirit Airlines will now be owned by the government, and we'll be sending illegals out of here. They're gone. They're going on Spirit because why should Americans be subjected to that cruel and unusual punishment that is Spirit Airlines?
Yeah. Do you think the people who created Spirit Airlines were like, well, we can't call it Soul Plane, so how close can we get to that?
It is pretty close.
It's pretty close, right?
I mean, there are ghetto fights before you board.
I've seen them. There are all-out black lady brawls in the airport, and it's definitely their Spirit flights. They're not flying American.
They're definitely spirit animals.
It's definitely Spirit. Yeah. And what's funny is there used to be an airline called NWA, Northwest Airlines. That felt perfect. And Delta was like, we got to get rid of this or else they'll start flying it. Delta acquired it and was like, shut it down.
I thought it was TWA.
No, that was before that. That was Trans World Airlines. And they were like, no, there aren't enough of those to fill a plane, so we got to shut that down too.
And then, of course, and this is big, really big. Here's a big one. Loud blacks will now be ejected from movie theaters. No refunds.
That's great. That's a great one. I like
no
that.
refunds because they'll say, but I paid to see the movie too. And I'll say, no, you didn't. You paid to watch a movie. You didn't pay to disrupt a movie.
Yeah. I have some that I want to pitch to you, President Trump. Some executive orders.
Hey, we'll listen. We'll listen and don't judge. That's what the kids say.
Now I know you're a big fan of Israel.
Big fan. Huge fan. Big fan. Nobody's a bigger fan than me.
But what can we do about their incessant whining?
No more Jew whining.
No Jew whining.
No more Jew whining. Every dollar sent to Israel is one less tear. So
now Jew wine, is that the Manischewitz? Is that what it is?
WHINE. No more
wine. Okay.
No more Jew wine.
Okay, good. So that's just you're just going to ban that outright?
Actually, in Israel, in Cana, where Jesus performed his first miracle, it just happens to be in the state of Israel. But it's Cana. It's in Galilee. They actually sell wine now, right? And the cardinal of our of the LA Archdiocese, Father Mahoney, he had like a little story about like when they go to a pilgrimage all the time. They take people to Cana in Galilee, and they tell them like this is one of the first miracles, and he filled up the stone things with water and turned to wine. And the joke is now that the wine there is so shit that all the priests beg Jesus to turn it back to water. because it's such dog shit wine. It's like, oh god. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll make the Jews turn it to water. That's Jesus did water to wine, and they're doing wine to water over there, and that'll be every dollar sent to Israel will be no more Jew cries. That's what it says. It's written in stone.
Jew cries. That's a funny word. Jew cries.
That's what it is. No more Jew crying. As far as like other things on there, I didn't really see. You got any more on that?
The people are talking. They want an executive order to ban the Roman salute. I think that's insane. And it's crazy to me is the Jew.
They're literally saying let's ban retards.
Yes, and I said this on people are. I don't know if you've seen this. This one tickled my fancy.
Have you seen this, folks?
So many people this week after the Elon thing came out, and they go, "Listen, I know lots of people on the spectrum, and none of them have ever done a Heil Hitler." And I go, "You're a liar." Because I know a handful of autistics and retardeds, and they all love racism. They think it's the funniest shit on earth. There's a video of a fucking retarded kid that's circulating all the internet where he's got like Nazi flags in the background, and he's just talking about like wrestling or whatever he's into with the fucking full Nazi flag in the background as if it's not there. Where he's just like, so anyway, then when Lex Luthor was like, and we're like, is anyone going to talk about the Nazi flag in the background? It's like, nah, your dad gets your father gift.
That's American history extra chromosome is what that is. He's got the big fucking flag in the back. It's like, American nobody needs to talk about that. Anyways, Zeke hair.
So my point is I was like, they love it. And I go, because they're retarded, they're not faggots. Like, it's like
they love racism.
They get that it's funny. Yes, they go, yeah. And also, what is I would love to see a black person tell a retarded person why it's not okay for them to be made fun of. Like, do you have any idea how hard it is to be black
or say the N-word,
in
right?
this country? And he just goes, "Nigga, I'm retarded." My life.
They get really close to the Emido. and they picked up neck. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what can I say, nigga?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they love it. They love to racism, the retarded. So when you go like, oh, a bunch of fucking retarded friends, and they hate it. No, they don't. They love it.
They make TikTok videos too. Like they get up on them and they'd be like, hey, how come you're black?
Yeah.
I'm not black. You're black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who's supposed to be retarded. Who even they are like, no.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, some ain't right with this. That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny for a retarded person to be like, oh, at least I'm not black. Like it's pretty. That's funny to me that a retarded person could be racist and find it funny. But you just got the AOCs out there freaking out, and of course you've got like the Jew hustlers. Like I had a post go nuts today because Steve Hofstetter, the Jewish leftist comedian, reposted Marin's thing from after the election when he was so he was basically like, I don't know if you saw this, but after the election, Mark Maron posted a thing that was like, this is because of right-wing comedians that this guy got elected. And he was talking about Rogan, and he was like, the fact that their platform, people like Rogan and Theo and all were platforming Trump, that's what caused it. And he was basically saying like everyone in the Rogan sphere is a right-wing Nazi. And then so Hofstetter, I guess, just found that today and reshared it, reposted it. And I didn't even go into his comments, but I just put a thread out, was like, listen, man, the reason that people don't like, or the reason that comics don't like Shane Gillis or don't understand why he's so successful and particularly these leftist comedians, is because they don't understand that like Shane's a guy people want to hang out with. Whether you think Bert Kreischer's funny or not, he's a guy people want to hang out with. That's why these guys are severely successful, is because they're likable and then people want to hang out with them. Nobody wants to hang out with Mark Maron. Nobody wants to hang out with Sarah Silverman, especially now. She's aging out like fucking spoiled milk. No one wants to hang out with Patton Oswalt or David Cross. Like, and this idea that leftist comedians have where they're like, I'm better than the audience. People don't fucking like that anymore.
Yeah, even Ari's become this. Ari has become this like weird middle of the road moderate.
Yes,
where he's just like, well, that's fucking stupid and gay.
Well,
so.
Yeah, well, Ari has always been sort of a nihilist in that regard, where he's just like, yeah, I don't subscribe to any of this. I don't think Ari the person is a nihilist. I think Ari has opinions. But Ari's thing is like, none of your opinions are worth the amount of energy that you're putting into them. Like, unless that's your life's work, you don't fucking care. You really don't care this much.
Can we just back up a little bit though on the whole Maron and Hofstadter thing? I can't fucking stand these people. I can't stand them on ESPN. I can't stand them on any fucking where they say the words. They're platforming these people.
Yes.
Hey, faggot. The platform is YouTube.
Right.
The platform is X. The platform is no fucking. He goes, well, Joe Rogan is platforming them. No.
Yeah.
He's on their show. You know who platformed him? $250 million from Spotify.
Yeah.
That's the platform.
This is the other thing too, that it's
fucking goofball.
This is the other thing too, that it's like, hey, Mark Maron, like, you had on Barack Obama twice, who did congressionally non-sanctioned drone strikes on third world countries we were not declared war with. So that's unconstitutional and that's a war crime.
Yeah.
And you, greatest president ever, right? Greatest living president ever, according to Mark Maron. So it's like, it's all perspective. You're sitting here going, you guys just elected the next Hitler. And I'm sure one of the fucking survivors of a Middle Eastern wedding that was drone striked by Obama is probably like, that guy's worse than Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's all subjective. It's all perspective. It's all about your own opinion. And you're not even smart enough to realize that. You're in the minority now. And it's becoming a more and more dwindling minority every day that nobody, like somebody posted this earlier. It might've been, what's her name? Ariel Wexler or Ari, whatever. But she was like, I can't remember a time. She's, non-liberal take or whatever on Instagram. Yeah. She's like, I can't remember at a time when it was this uncool to be liberal. Like, it's super uncool to be it's like if you're just like, you guys are racist and homophobic, everyone's like, shut up, fag. Like that's happening in public now, which we love.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's never been this uncool to be on that side. And even the people that are supposed to know cool don't even have the self-awareness to go like, oh no, I'm on the uncool side now.
Yeah, and they're slowly waking up to it. That's why they're like, well, you know, like I was never vocally against Trump, and
right?
Like that type of shit.
Well, Zuckerberg is the first to do an about face, a complete,
but he's doing
embarrassing about face.
He's doing the same thing that Bill Gates did after the monopoly court case, where he was a monopolist, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm a philanthropist. Yeah. And now this dude's like, well, you know, we did feel pressure from Joe Biden's administration to censor American people, but you know, at the time, you know, I was just like, oh, this is wrong. But I still, even after I thought that was wrong, I donated X amount of millions of dollars to Kamala Harris's campaign so they'd win. Right. What the fuck are you talking about, you fucking jujitsu liking faggot?
Yes.
Like all of a sudden you like jujitsu, and he's like, hey, we need to do something about masculinity in this thing. Zuckerberg is having the same fucking grift moment that Whitney Cummings is having on the opposite side, where she's like, I got cummed in and have a baby, and now all of a sudden I realize how much I was spewing horse shit into the universe. And I mean horse shit, whore shit. Double entendre. I mean, this fucking purple, blue-haired during the pandemic, getting people tested at our own house in their backyard is now have this about face like, yeah, guys, I say all those things too.
But they never start the sentence with, "Hey, I was wrong about this too."
The only person that's done that is Piers Morgan.
Yep, I've seen. Well, no, there's probably been a couple others, but yes, he's the only one in the media I've seen do it.
He's the only one that says I was absolutely wrong about the shots. I was wrong about this.
Even in the debate that Dave Smith did with Chris Cuomo, where Dave Smith drug him out into the fucking middle of the audience and beat him to death. Chris Cuomo still couldn't admit he was wrong. He still couldn't admit. He's like, I was wrong and I'm sorry. The words "I was wrong and I'm sorry." It was like you could have put a gun in his mouth and he wouldn't have said it.
Yeah, so like the whole thing about like Rogan, I've never been a Rogan fan of his comedy. But I never openly shit on Rogan just because he was like, dude, can you believe he has all these fucking right-wing comedians on there? It is the most envious fag show you could think of, is all these losers online who have nothing better to do but just make a YouTube video of other YouTube videos, compiling them together and be like, they look at them, all right wing, they're all fags and blowing each other, and be like, or they're the only people left hanging out with each other because everyone else in this town fucking sucks.
Listen, just from my own experiences being in the green room of the store off and on occasionally for the last 10 years, I've met a lot of these dudes, and I always liked Joe as a comedian because this is the thing. I always respected the fact that I never had to question whether or not that was Joe on stage. Like,
true.
Or backstage.
Even if you think he sucks, he's authentic.
Always himself. Those are his opinions. They're bits from his mind of what he sees. And I felt like my path to the right was the same. Joe was a little behind me, but we were similar guys with similar views who had similar trajectories.
Totally, dude. Like you guys do the same kick. You guys are both in phenomenal shape.
Yeah. We're pretty much identical clones, right? Our wives both seem to like black gentlemen in a way that doesn't involve us. You know, him before he married her, mine apparently during, and maybe or definitely after, maybe during. But my point is so many similarities, right? But that was the thing, is like I never doubted for a second as I watched Joe make the transition to being more right leaning and more conservative that is authentically the guy, and that's sort of the journey he's on. And by the way, it's the journey of anyone who's not a complete fucking retard. There are people that I felt like made the swing because they tried to get in front of it, and I will say that those people, to me, feel like Theo Von and Jeff Dye and Jamie Kennedy, where they were like huddling in this middle ground. And I put Russell Brand in that mix too, of like, I'm not popping. How can I get popping? Maybe I can shoot in front of this thing as it's moving.
I'll separate Jeff Dye from them because at least Jeff Dye said he wasn't popular during Trump's first term because he supported him and voted for him and shit like that.
See, that I don't know. That I don't know, but I know that Jeff is good friends with Brant Tobler, and I've always known Brant Tobler to be an authentic and direct and honest dude. So I'll just have to trust that for what it's worth. I can just tell you,
Jeff even has a joke about it. He goes, people always hate me because I think Trump is cool and I voted for him twice and shit. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, this whole fucking thing. It's like, what the fuck is up with that?
Yeah. And that, listen, that might be the case, but I can just tell you from my experience being around people, like you can pretty quickly figure out who the grifters are and who's really about that.
Jamie for sure is one of them.
Kennedy, 100%.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Dude, we did a show. I know you don't fucking like him, and he don't like you, or for whatever the case, and I don't think he likes me anymore. I did a Jay Davis show. It was
Jay Davis doesn't like me just because I put him in his place when I first
about not paying people. Yeah,
no, it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with like when I moved out here. I think I've told this story on the show before. When I moved out here, I knew of him because he famously ran the Tuesday nights at the Laugh Factory. And I was like friends with him on social media when I lived in Minneapolis. And I happened to go to a show with a friend I was friends with a comic from Chicago, a dude named Mike Bridenstine. and I went to see him at a show, and Jay happened to be there. Well, Jay sort of made it out like I stalked him down at that show.
Yeah,
And
he was weird.
Yeah, dude. I'm here to see my friend. I had no idea you were fucking hosting this thing that's in an AA meeting room. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then it was like,
He's just a
maybe
goofy
like
person.
no, it was like a week or two later or something. He had posted something about being at beach volleyball with his nieces, and I was like, "Hey, man, my company is the primary sponsor of beach volleyball. If you ever want to go, like, let me know, and I'll try to set you up." And he was like, "Hey, man, I don't need every fucking open micer in the world trying to bribe me for stay." I had never asked him to be booked or anything at that point yet.
Yeah.
And so for him to jump to that, I was like, listen, faggot, I don't know if you know where I'm from, but I might have lived in Minneapolis, but I'm from Philadelphia. I'll smack the shit out of you next time I fucking see you in person talking to me like that. I'm a funny guy. I don't need to fucking beg faggots like you for stage time, trying to barter with shit. I was trying to be nice and hospitable.
That was a Jay show so he put during the pandemic, he put
by
Jamie
the way, the
Kennedy
next time I saw him, and every time I've seen him for over a decade, he scurries away like a little fucking rat.
Yeah. So he put Jamie on a show as a headliner and then asked me to do it. And it was during the pandemic. So there wasn't a lot of stage time. And so I was like, yeah, okay. I go to the show and we're in the alley behind it was at the fucking the place in like Silver Lake. What's that place called? It's on the Virgil.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
old rundown shit.
Yeah.
And we're in like the alley that's like behind it and shit. Where like people smoke cigarettes and all that shit.
Sure,
and, And I just step out and Jamie's there and he's got a mask on and we're outside.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Jamie
and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then like 2 weeks later, I see him on the podcast. Like, yeah, can you believe what they're trying to do? They're trying to take over. And I was like, did this guy just like hack all my fucking jokes that I did right before him while he was wearing a mask and now say them on a podcast?
Yeah, this
like,
is the thing.
I'm like, what the fuck is I was like, you're not one of us, you fucking phony.
People can make jokes all the time or make commentary all the time. Like nobody cares about what you did during the pandemic or anything. You weren't big enough, whatever. That's fine. But there were one of the reasons you and I are friends is because we met right before the pandemic. We had known each other for a while through social and through the world of comedy. You'll know a person for years before you even meet them. So I had known of you. You had come and done the Darkest Hour November 19th,
like
2019, right before, and I got sick right at like a week later. I got COVID. So you and I became friends because we were two of the only comics in the city who were like, I'm not doing this bullshit with vaccine cards and mandates to perform.
Yeah,
fuck you. Not doing it. It's unconstitutional. It's definitely not something comedians should be going along with. Every other one of these motherfucking faggots did it. And this is why Chrissy Mayer, I'm totally on Chrissy's side about it. This is why Chrissy Mayer went after Whitney. When Whitney like got all that press for being like very anti-establishment on the New Year's Eve broadcast with Andy Cohen and the other gay, it was like, hey, bitch, you couldn't get the fucking establishment's cock out of your mouth during the pandemic, while the rest of us were going without work and being laughed at, ridiculed, and like, you know, nobody in the comedy world was like, hey man, it's a brave thing you're doing. You're jeopardizing your career for something you believe in. Their answer was like, well, nobody's asking for you anyway. Nobody cares about Chrissy Mayer. Nobody cares about Carl Spitali. Nobody cares about Josh Denny. Nobody cares about Tyler Fisher or any of these other.
But that's the point, right?
All of us that were like, yeah, but this is wrong, and we're not going along with it.
And then good. I'm glad, you know, some good came out of it. You know, Ty Fish blew up from it. Been on Rogan.
Yeah, and Tyler did. Listen, Tyler did something that I think, you know, you and I talk about this a lot. Like, this is something we could be better at, is like, sometimes you got to stop complaining and just get to work with it. And so Tyler just went on TikTok and went on Instagram and started making videos ridiculing all of this shit and doing
character. A couple of them were like, hey guys, my fucking account got taken away. Like, I didn't make those videos, but like, he would be like, this is bullshit.
But he was doing like
the viral video that happened was he was talking about the agent wouldn't rep him because he was white.
Yes. Yeah,
that that's
But,
what like went.
but content-wise, the thing that blew him up was the Dr. Fauci impression when he kept shoving cash in his pockets, and he was like, "Actually, 3 or 4 vaccines should definitely do the trick." And he would keep grabbing money and go, "What you want to do is 10. Why not 10 masks? 3 will get you there, but 6 or 7 or 10." And he's just shoving cash in every pocket of his suit. There's a really funny sort of viral video pointing out the obvious, and obviously the guy is an innocent man who didn't do anything wrong. So I needed a full presidential pardon,
Preemptive,
even been charged or investigated yet. That's how you really know. That's how you really know somebody didn't do anything wrong, is when the highest ranking officer in the entire country goes, "I'm going to pardon this guy that you guys haven't even thought about looking into yet." Like, what has he done?
Yeah. And but that's why it's like, for Whitney to do that, that's why, like, I agree that Chrissy called her out. Like, for Whitney to do that on, the CNN New Year's thing, going like, "Oh, and Pfizer, is this not like we can't talk about this right now?"
Problem is, Whitney postured like she been over there the whole time. That's what we all had a problem with.
Yeah. So, like, for her to do that, it was like, "Oh, now is it safe to do this?"
By the way, I'll say this for the record: I like Whitney. I've always liked Whitney. My only gripe with Whitney is like, hey man, if you just liked yourself as much as the rest of us like you wouldn't have to try so hard, and then people wouldn't dislike you. Yeah, right? Like, you're fine. But my point, but this is the funny thing is she would never acknowledge she knows who I am because she's terrified of Red Bar, like a lot of the fucking posers are. But it's like
I don't. So I never like, "Oh yeah, she's funny." She's not.
So when she's not that much less funny than all the other women that are doing comedy. Let's be honest. ELGS.
ES. But here's what bothered me is like when she said it was like, "Oh, is it safe to do this now?" Right. This is what Ty Rivera says about. No, this is what Ty Rivera says about what's his name, George Takei, because he says that George Takei comes out, he's like, "I'm gay, and everyone knows I'm gay, and it's so hard to be gay." And Ty literally was like, "Bitch, please, how come you didn't come out in the fucking 70s and be brave? Right. You came out now," and it's like, "Shut the fuck up."
George,
it's the same thing.
Is old enough to have been the first faggot. He could have been the first faggot ever, and he was just like, "Not me. Has anybody looked into this?"
It's so.
Has anybody looked into this Rock Hudson? Like, he's just like, there goes a faggot over there.
Yeah, dude. But so like it's the same thing. That's why Ty got pissed when George Takei was all over Twitter and all this stuff. Like he was a champion of gay rights and stuff.
And you were like,
and Ty jumped down his throat, proverbially. Proverbial one. His actual throat.
While all the other Chineses were building the railroads, George Takei was building the closet that all the gays had to live in for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. He could have been a champion in Hollywood for all those years.
He could have been the first gay. He could have been like, "Listen, sometimes when we beam us up there, there's another guy in there, and here's what we do to each other." Like, you could have said that.
But that sort of thinking, right, is why this motherfucker is, pounce. I think he's like, "Oh, it's so divisive on the internet, and they hate me," and so it's just like, no, it's because you're an inauthentic cuck for Hollywood, the same way that Whitney is now, the same way that, like, so now Mel Gibson is making the rounds on stuff, and there's so many people going, "I always loved Mel Gibson." I was like, then why did you guys literally cancel him? Why did he have to make fucking indie? He paid 40 fucking 50 $60 million for Hacksaw Ridge out of his own money. Same with the Passion. Same with Apocalypto. Why? Yeah. How come you guys didn't greenlight his movies? Because you were such big fans?
Yeah.
It's like, stop the bullshit, bro. People don't forget that you're on the literal wrong side of history, and then you're trying to like spin it back to us with PR and all your other fag shit. Like, it's
they're laundering their own image.
Yeah, dude. And that's exactly what Zuckerberg is doing, because that's what Bill Gates did. Yep. And the fact that when Trump brought Bill Gates in, it was like, so it's just about money, right? That's what you're saying? Because at what point does it stop being about like, look at our GDP and how great it is? It was like, dude, I don't care if our GDP fucking stops. If we kick out all the fucking illegal immigrants, if we do everything we're American, dude, we could have the dollar be a dollar again. Right? Not negative 40.
Right.
not like for every dollar. You go, you know that women only make 30 cents on the dollar. I would go, well, I'm going to stop you right there. The dollar's only worth 40 cents. So actually they make 10 cents.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and this is the thing, and people don't like, we said this about Trump when Trump was like rising in popularity, and people go, I don't understand it. And it's go, because you don't understand that he's speaking to the concerns of American people. And then I'll extend this to Nick Fuentes. When people go, I don't understand why Nick Fuentes is so popular. It's like, because he's talking about the shit that even Trump's not talking about, or he's willing to highlight the shit that these guys aren't willing to highlight. Like, right. You know, MAGA doesn't necessarily mean America first in a lot of these situations. And listen, a lot of the Fuentes people and the Groypers and those, you know, more right conservative guys are going to be watching him like a hawk. They already are watching him like a hawk in these first months of his administration to go, at what point is billionaire globalism going to squeak through? And what's kind of crazy to me is like, the only way the left has a shot at winning anything at midterms or in 4 years when there's another presidential election is if they start taking chapters from the Fuentes book and start saying that that what Trump is doing is not America first, that it's globalist for billionaires. And then you're going to have to basically come up with you're going to have to be anti-Zionist America first Democrats, which is it's insane to even talk about that. But that is their only path to victory, is to fully embrace the parts of the right that the right is afraid to touch. And they will. I mean, they're already pro-Hamas, anti-Israel leftists anyway. So, you know.
And they hate CEOs because they cheer for them to be murdered and stuff.
They hate corporations.
So they're almost there. But the thing about it is, like, the only way to convince the right to stop that influx of globalization shit is stop caring about a fucking company trying to expand and go global and put Starbucks in China, or fucking I don't care that they close all the fucking McDonald's in Russia. It ain't their company.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Like, if you're an American company and your concerns are only about the tax, your only concerns are about the shareholders and stuff, be a private company. Like, Americans should only support private companies then. Fuck publicly traded companies that are that only are beholden to shareholders and stuff. Look at State Farm. State Farm's a private company. They're not a publicly traded company. They make trillions, and they told California to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
And they said, if you don't do this and this, we're going to leave the state because you're telling us we need to raise our rates or in order to pay for it. We told you we need to raise our rates 30% or we can't insure this. And they said, no. And go, okay, well, you need to clean up the brush around there. You need to clean up vegetation. Otherwise, we can't insure it. And they go, actually, we're not going to do any of that. And the governor is going to put an executive order that says you can't raise the rates. So they said, fuck all of you, canceled 72,000 policies and hit the bricks. Yeah. And now everybody's like, what the fuck? They're not going to insure these people in fire damage? Like, they canceled it 6 months ago, you faggot.
Well, I think it's funny because we talked about at the show last Sunday. We were talking about, you know, the funny Kristen Bell and her assistant, you know, on Instagram Live complaining that the things that people were donating were like too tattered or whatever, not high enough quality. And we're like, what a sort of elitist video to make. However, it is funny when you start seeing some of these like historically very leftist celebrities like her coming around, where you start seeing them post things like, here's why California needs to become the goat capital of the United States. And it's an article about how if we just had goats up in these mountains eating the fucking brush, it would be solved. But I want to just go, hey, bitch, how about you go, this is on our fucking government. How about you use your platform and actually step up to the plate and have some balls and go, the goats would have been a solution. But the problem is these inept, incapable, corrupt politicians that we've let weasel their way into office.
Yeah, and it is that middle management administrative class that keeps growing and growing and growing.
Of course.
And they go, well, like, what are we going to do? And they're like,
I
We're
listen.
gonna have people do this, but we need somebody to oversee that, and there's gonna be 4 fucking people above that.
Yeah, this is what's funny, and some of this is because I grew up in corporate America a little bit as a young adult. But like, I feel like I'm the only person that watches Office Space and roots for the Bobs because I am that guy.
What exactly would you say that
you do around here? And it's like, yeah, it's clogged with middle management and people who show up and sit in their cubicle all day and do 10 minutes of work and get paid for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like that is what's wrong with America, is because that has become winning. People think that's winning. People think like, oh, what do you grind it out on the internet all day trying to like get people interested in your work, and then you do fucking shows for no money at night trying to get people interested in your work, and you spend all day writing and you don't get paid. You should go to a job where you work 5 minutes a day and get paid a salary you don't deserve and fuck people over, and that's winning. And it's like, don't you take any fucking, like, at least I have pride in what
There's no pride anymore. The fags hijacked the word pride.
Yeah.
So even having it makes you go, ugh, right? So it's like nobody has pride anymore. There's no American pride in like making something like the liberals that bought all the Teslas in the beginning, but now they hate it because of Elon Musk. They'd be like, yo, it's still the number one American manufactured car. Like, yes. Period.
Yeah, so, they don't. Nobody talks about that aspect.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with like Bud Light. I get it. I'm not drinking Bud Light because of the trans stuff, right? They're like, I'm not drinking Bud Light because of the trans stuff. And you go, yeah, but they employ 79,000 Americans.
Yeah,
right. And they just sold beer to a guy in a wig. Right? Yeah, it's like fucking. Seems pretty American. Like, yeah. You know, it's like the little things like that are the only way. Like if the left is, like you said, they gotta have to go, well, we're already anti-Zionist, we're all these things, this will be a platform that we can, you know, get voters on. It's like, until those voters like really embrace American companies in America, not trying to constantly expand, dude. And we'll probably end with this. Netflix.
This is the problem. Is you said earlier about publicly traded companies. Well, the work 10 minutes a day and get paid. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The work 10 minutes a day and get paid a salary. Investing is an extension of that even further. Whereas like, hey, I can put some of my money into a company and I don't have to do shit and I'll get rich. So it's like our whole economy, and therefore an extension of that, has become a grift. Like, how do I get the most amount of money for the least amount of work? That's what the American way has become. I know you're doing it.
You're getting to it.
Yeah.
I'm getting to it.
How can we get the most amount of money with the least amount of work? Right. and
it's some type of system installed by a certain group
really badly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, that's that being winning, right? And all of our detractors act like that. Like, well, you guys work hard, you don't make any money. It's like, yeah, but we love what we do.
Hey, listen, my rent's paid, so I don't give a fuck what you're talking about.
It's like my bills are paid. You know, it's like that's it is what it is.
Yeah, and these trust fund kids around town that have always been trust fund kids, and they don't tell you that, or their parents were fucking right. You go, oh, so and so's doing well from the thing, and go, yeah, their dad used to write on the fucking TV show in the 70s, and still gets residuals from it. You go, which one? He goes like, oh, you know, Happy Days.
Well, it's like the amount of people. You know, one of the things that was so eye-opening for people in the fires is how many like not rich people own some of those homes. And it's like, yeah, they inherited them from their grandparents who bought them in the 50s when they cost 30 grand.
Yeah, and that's why they had to burn them down, because those people refused to move.
They would never sell because they, you know, it's like, great, I'll sell.
That's their only equity. That's their only equity.
$4 million, but it'll be the last $4 million I ever make.
Right. That's their only equity. So they were like, well, I don't want to do that. And they're like, you don't got a choice.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like, you know, there are people who like, this is the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, is when we talk about like trust fund kids, a lot of them are just like LA kids whose parents or grandparents or some extended like owned a home in West Hollywood for 60 years. And now they live in that house and they don't have that expense. So like, I remember when I first moved to LA in 2009, I had a full-time job, and I would go up there and I would talk to people like Amir Kamyab, and I would talk to Jeremiah, and I don't know all these guys' individual stories, but they're like, yeah, man, you got to hang out here every fucking night and just be here and grind every night. And I'm just like, I have a job to pay my expensive rent. Like, I can't just hang out in a comedy club and not be going up.
Yeah, and when I first moved here, I lived 45 minutes away. I lived in
I lived in
Long Beach.
Long Beach too. So it was like, these guys, you look at that and you go like, so you're getting some help because you haven't had to have a job
right
for the first 4 or 5 years you were here, and then you're in and you're a regular and you're getting paid something. And then these other opportunities come, and now you're making enough money from podcasting or comedy or whatever to where you don't have to get a job. But like, there are a lot of us who had to have jobs, like, and
most of them got in while working at the store. Then a big act took them on the road as a feature.
Put
$3,000 a show in their pocket.
Yeah,
because they were making 40 as the headliner.
And by the way, that paid their bills for the year.
Yeah, but I'm saying, they did 6 months with a fucking featuring for them. They're like,
not even.
Hey, now I can start doing this.
Not even. They go out and do like a grip of 10 shows and make $2,500 a show and make $25,000, and then just live like a poor person for the rest of the year with their rent.
Go back to their, the job at the store or doing and those things. Where they're like, yeah. And you're like, oh, they got float money,
Yeah.
And that was the case for like so many people. And it's just like, dude, fuck, man. Like, more power to you. I don't know what to say to certain people who didn't go through certain avenues to like, well, how do you get your money? And like, I work.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? And like, well, there's what's that like? Because they don't know.
Yeah.
And then so like you talk to them and go like, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I invested in so and so's company. They had a startup and a production company and shit. And I was like, so you just make money on that now? And they're like, yeah, I made $30,000 from doing this.
Well, yeah,
so and so helped me and put me in a commercial. I made $60,000 from that. And then
you and I talk about this all the time of like, we don't have a grandparent or a parent that could die that would leave us something that would impact our life in some positive way. And like, I have friends who like had a grandparent die in the early 2000s, and they got like $75,000 from an inheritance, and then like invested that in Apple in like 2005, and are now have like $500,000 in their bank account after they, by the way, after they bought a home and a bunch of other shit. Like they invested it wisely, and it's like, good for you for being smart, but like, you're also kind of lucky. You know what I mean? Like, I had $1 million of Croc stock in 2006, and the company wasn't underperforming when the stock tanked. The stock tanked because the market thought that the product was a fad, and everyone was getting crushed in the start of the economic decline of
and you're like, I'll take the cash value. Thanks.
Everyone took the cash. Everyone took the cash out of Croc. And I did too, because I saw the trend and I was like, this is going to be worth nothing.
So as far as like worth nothing, we already said on the last show that the land will be worth nothing. But if you think that we're worth nothing, pay us $8 to tell us that.
Yeah, tell us.
It's our hate for 8. It's at you can go to patreon.com, the Big Uglies podcast, and you can hate for 8 or send us that 5 to keep us alive. It is
fun.
And we are going to keep doing this because we love it, and we love you guys. Josh, if you have any other send off.
No, just I think we're going to start doing some shows in March. Oh
yeah, you and the haters too. Contact us and tell us what city you don't want us at.
Yeah. I think we're gonna start doing some shows in March. We might do some local stuff before then, but we're gonna start getting out and doing some shows. I think I finally have enough material to go do the road, so it's just a matter of like, when you do a special, you gotta write a whole new thing. So, and I had being a guy who writes a lot from my first person life experience, I had a lot of life shit happen in the last 6 months. That kind of changed the trajectory of what I was writing. So You know that, but I'm excited to kind of get on the road and tell everybody about all that stuff.
Come here.
Talking to Winston.
Yeah, he was making noises.
I heard him.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but I live right next door to you.
Yeah, he also barked into a mic. So yeah.
He learned it from you.
Also on my X page and Facebook and everywhere else that you guys harass me and stalk me, I have a link for him. He's gonna win. He's trying to win a competition.
Yeah.
And for the America's favorite pet, and he has to be 3 hours from now, Pacific time, is the cutoff to be in the top 15 in the nation. He's currently in 7th place. So, yeah.
Let's try to get him to number 1.
We're gonna move to the next round.
By the way, I just want to say, like, I want you to win this thing, but I also don't want you to win this thing because I don't want the family to be like, "We told you." You know what I mean? Like, remember, like, "Oh, so your plan worked?" And it's like, that wasn't a plan. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's just like,
yeah. Well, I also said this: if this guy wins because he gets on the cover of Modern Dog magazine,
awesome.
If he wins, I'm getting this motherfucker an agent.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's bringing in more a month on acting than I got. 1,800 my last acting job. This guy's gonna get 10 grand. Fuck that. He's getting an agent.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Can he be trained?
Mine's on TV. He's gonna be some digital fucking magazine thing. Yeah. They're gonna give him way more cash.
Yeah.
Fucking
ain't that the sweet justice?
All right, y'all.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
I know.